Story 1 of 36. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time change ending in April. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time change ending in April. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Daylight saving ends in Australia on Sunday, April 5, 2026 at 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, when clocks move back 1 hour to 2 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. States observing DST include New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, the Australian Capital Territory, and Norfolk Island. Queensland, Western Australia, the Northern Territory, Christmas Island, and the Cocos, Keeling, Islands do not observe daylight saving. The time change affects over 20 million Australians across participating states and territories. Smartphones and internet-linked devices automatically adjust, but traditional clocks and appliances require manual adjustment. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states nighttime spending drops by almost 13% and public transport trips fall by almost 15%, while ABC does not provide specific percentage figures for these impacts. News Kamau mentions health authorities' warning of sleep disruption and offering practical tips, but ABC does not reference health authority advice beyond the core time change details. News Kamau highlights Queensland and WA's repeated referendums rejecting DST, while ABC does not mention this political context. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 2 of 36. Legal battle over suppression of Bondi terrorist Naveed Akram's family identities. Legal battle over suppression of Bondi terrorist Naveed Akram's family identities. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Naveed Akram, 24, is charged with 59 offenses including 15 counts of murder and 1 count of committing a terrorist act allegedly inspired by ISIS. Akram's father, Sajid Akram, 50, was shot and killed by police at the Bondi Beach Hanukkah festival attack on the 14th of December, 2023. Judge Hugh Donnelly denied Akram's 40-year suppression order request for his mother, brother, and sister's names and addresses in Downing Centre Local Court on the 28th of March, 2024. Akram's license, containing his home address, was posted on social media within hours of the 14th of December attack, rendering suppression ineffective. Media organisations including Nine, News Corp Australia, ABC, and Guardian Australia opposed the suppression order. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian says Akram's mother, brother, and sister had nothing to do with what occurred, but News Corp Australia does not explicitly state this. The ABC describes the family's home as having been under siege with media turning up outside, while The Guardian does not mention this detail. News Corp Australia reports a yellow liquid, suspected urine, was thrown at the family's yard, but the ABC and Guardian do not mention this specific incident. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 3 of 36. US-Iran war escalation, Trump's threats, ceasefire talks, and regional fallout. US-Iran war escalation, Trump's threats, ceasefire talks, and regional fallout. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump threatened to obliterate or blow up Iran's Karg Island, which handles 90% of Iran's oil production, if a ceasefire deal is not reached by April 6, ABC, Guardian, News.com.au. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghaei called US peace proposals unrealistic, illogical, and excessive, ABC, Guardian. Thousands of US troops, including 2,500 Marines, have arrived in the Middle East, with additional forces building capacity for potential future operations, ABC, Guardian. Oil prices are on track for a record monthly rise, with Brent crude up 54% since March, Guardian, News.com.au. Israel and the US have launched strikes on Iranian military infrastructure, while Iran-backed groups, Houthi, Hezbollah, have targeted Israel and regional allies, ABC, Guardian. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Guardian report Trump's deadline is April 6, but News.com.au only states Trump extended the deadline without specifying the new date. ABC and Guardian mention Iran's Karg Island handles 90% of Iran's oil production, but News.com does not specify the percentage. Guardian reports Trump's threat to obliterate civilian infrastructure, power plants, desalination plants, would violate international law, while ABC and News.com do not explicitly address legality. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 4 of 36. American journalist Shelly Kittleson kidnapped in Baghdad by Iranian-backed militia group. American journalist Shelly Kittleson kidnapped in Baghdad by Iranian-backed militia group. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Shelly Kittleson, a 49-year-old American journalist based in Rome, was kidnapped in Baghdad on Tuesday. Kittleson had written for Al Monitor and had been warned by the U.S. State Department about threats prior to the abduction. An arrested suspect has ties to the Iran-backed Kataib Hezbollah militia group. Iraqi authorities intercepted a vehicle belonging to the kidnappers that overturned during a car chase, arresting one suspect. Kittleson is a freelance journalist with extensive experience reporting from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Guardian mention Kittleson was based in Rome, but News.com does not specify her current location beyond currently based in Rome. News.com states the abduction occurred near the Baghdad Hotel, a stone's throw from the heavily militarized Green Zone, while ABC and Guardian do not specify the exact location beyond Baghdad. News.com reports no ransom demands have been made public, but ABC and Guardian do not address this point. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 5 of 36. Angus Taylor's car theft and coalitions fuel excise demands amid fuel crisis. Angus Taylor's car theft and coalitions fuel excise demands amid fuel crisis. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Angus Taylor's car was stolen on March 27 from an address in Canberra's inner south. The stolen vehicle was located later that day in Turner, a North Canberra suburb. ACT policing confirmed the theft and took the car for forensic examination. The incident occurred just hours before Taylor's planned joint press conference with Matt Canavan and Bridget McKenzie at a petrol station. Taylor's office declined to comment on the car theft. But not all outlets told the same story. SMH states Taylor's car was likely stolen because it was empty of fuel, but News.com does not mention this reason. SMH implies the car theft was the sole reason Taylor and Canavan appeared without jackets, while News.com does not address this detail. SMH includes additional context about Gina Reinhardt's pack attendance and political networking, which News.com omits entirely. This story was covered by news.com.au and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 6 of 36. Travel expenses and affordability of Albania compared to other European destinations. Travel expenses and affordability of Albania compared to other European destinations. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Albania is described as Europe's most affordable summer travel destination by the author in both Thege and SMH articles. The author visited Albania during late northern summer with $1 equivalent to 55 cents and 54 Albanian lek, later 60 cents and 57 lek. The author spent a total of €1,473, $2,601, over 7 days in Albania, including €325 for hire car, €21 for petrol, €11 for coffee, €290 for meals and drinks, and €19 for sites museums. The Tirana Marriott Hotel is centrally located within a football field in Tirana, with rooms priced at €140 per night. The author mentions car rentals available at Tirana Airport from providers including Avis, Hertz, and Sixt. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two articles as they are identical in content. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 7 of 36. Australia's Reserve Bank bans debit credit card surcharges from October 2026. Australia's Reserve Bank bans debit credit card surcharges from October 2026. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, will ban surcharges on debit, prepaid, and credit card payments, MasterCard, Visa, EFTPOS, from October 1, 2026, saving consumers $1.6 billion annually. The ban applies to all MasterCard, Visa, and EFTPOS cards but excludes American Express, which is regulated differently as a three-party card scheme without interchange fees. Interchange fee caps will be lowered, from 0.8% to 0.3% for domestic-issued consumer credit cards, and from 0.2% to 0.16% for debit cards, with foreign card interchange fees capped at 1%. The RBA estimates businesses will save $910 million annually from reduced interchange fees, particularly benefiting smaller businesses that currently pay higher fees. About 16% of businesses, roughly one-third in hospitality, currently surcharge card payments, and the RBA expects these costs to be absorbed into sticker prices post-ban. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian, Article 3, implies the reforms will ease cost of living pressures, while Brad Kelly, ABC, and Brad Kelly, News Corp, argue the ban will lead to higher prices for all consumers, including cash users. The Age and ABC both cite GAO, University of Sydney, estimating a one-off 0.1% price increase, but The Guardian, Article 7, does not reference this specific figure or source. The Guardian, Article 5, and News Corp state the ban will save consumers $1.6 billion annually, while SBS and The Age confirm this figure but do not mention the $200 million business savings separately highlighted in ABC. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 8 of 36. Missing man swept away in floodwaters near Innamincka, SA, search ends in tragedy. Missing man swept away in floodwaters near Innamincka, SA, search ends in tragedy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tony Aspden, 65, was last seen on April 4 around midday near Innamincka, SA, walking across Cordillo Downs Road when swept into floodwaters. Tony Aspden's body was recovered on April 6, Monday, around 10:30 a.m., ending the search. Innamincka is approximately 800 to 820 kilometers north of Adelaide and 25 to 40 kilometers from the Queensland border. Flood warnings were in place for Innamincka since April 1, with the lower Cooper Creek system in flood. Tony Aspden's granddaughter, Maddie Calabai, travelled from Queensland to assist in the search and expressed grief for his return home. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states Innamincka is 820 kilometers north of Adelaide, while ABC states it is 1,065 kilometers by road. News Kamau mentions the search ended on Monday, April 6, at 10:30 a.m., but ABC does not specify the exact time of recovery. News Kamau includes a flood warning detail about the lower Cooper Creek falling but forecast to rise again, which ABC does not mention. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 9 of 36. Teen surfer bitten by shark at South Australian beach during Easter weekend. Teen surfer bitten by shark at South Australian beach during Easter weekend. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Oliver Tokic Bensley, 16, was bitten on his foot while surfing at Middleton Beach, 80 kilometers south of Adelaide, on Good Friday, April 19, 2025. The victim was in the water for about 10 minutes, roughly 100 meters from shore when the shark grabbed his foot. Oliver Tokic Bensley described the bite as a sharp sensation and kicked his foot away, causing the shark to release him. The victim paddled nervously 70 to 100 meters back to shore after seeing a shark fin, then called his sister who alerted his parents. Oliver Tokic Bensley was taken to Victor Harbour Hospital, where his wounds were washed, disinfected, x-rayed, and bandaged. He received antibiotics and avoided weight-bearing on the foot. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Oliver was bitten at 4:30 p.m., while ABC and news.com.au do not specify the exact time of the bite. The Guardian reports Oliver saw the shark's fin after it released him and he paddled back to shore, while ABC states he saw the fin before paddling back. The Guardian implies Oliver's wounds were not that bad and he had no pain, while ABC and News.com focus on his initial fear and nervousness. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and News.com.au. Story 10 of 36. US President Trump mocks French President Macron's marriage during Iran war discussion. US President Trump mocks French President Macron's marriage during Iran war discussion. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump made comments about Emmanuel Macron's marriage during a White House lunch on Wednesday, saying Brigitte Macron treats him extremely badly and he was still recovering from a right to the jaw. The remarks were made during a discussion about seeking French support for the US-led war against Iran, with Trump mimicking Macron's response. "No, no, no, we cannot do that, Donald. We can do that after the war is won." Emmanuel Macron criticized Trump's comments as neither elegant nor up to standard and said they did not merit a response. A video of Macron's wife Brigitte pushing his face appeared in May 2025 during a visit to Vietnam, which Macron later described as joking, as we often do. The White House initially posted a video of Trump's remarks on its YouTube channel before removing it. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions Trump's comment about NATO allies not being present in a big one without elaboration, while The Age and SMH do not include this line in their summaries. The Guardian and The Age SMH differ slightly in phrasing Macron's response to Trump's request for help, with The Guardian emphasizing after the war is won and The Age SMH omitting this exact phrasing in their summaries. The Guardian includes a direct quote from Macron denying a domestic dispute with Brigitte, while The Age and SMH do not repeat this exact phrasing. This story was covered by The Guardian, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 11 of 36. Western Australia faces severe mouse plague threatening agriculture and communities. Western Australia faces severe mouse plague threatening agriculture and communities. Here's what every outlet agrees on. CSIRO Research Officer Steve Henry is warning about unprecedented mouse plague levels in Western Australia's grain paddocks, ABC, Newscomau. Mouse numbers in Western Australian paddocks exceed 200 to 300 per hectare, with some areas reporting up to 8,000 per hectare, ABC, 200 to 300, Newscomau, 8,000. Farmers in WA's Midwest, Wheatbelt, and Goldfields Esperance regions are reporting mouse infestations, Newscomau. Mice are damaging freshly sown seeds, particularly in canola crops, causing significant yield losses, ABC, Newscomau. Steve Henry visited WA in 2022 and noted this year's mouse numbers are worse than the previous outbreak, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports mice numbers in WA paddocks at 200 to 300 per hectare, while Newscomau states some paddocks have up to 8,000 mice per hectare. ABC does not mention burrows per hectare, but Newscomau states farmers found about 4,000 burrows per hectare in crops. ABC does not reference the federal approval requirement for ZP50 bait, but Newscomau highlights this as a major issue for farmers. This story was covered by ABC News and News.com.au. Story 12 of 36. Western Australia activates emergency fuel supply powers amid regional shortages. Western Australia activates emergency fuel supply powers amid regional shortages. Here's what every outlet agrees on. WA Premier Roger Cook activated emergency powers under the Fuel, Energy and Power Resources Act 1972 to force fuel suppliers to disclose supply chain details. 6 major fuel companies were initially contacted by the WA government for supply data, with only 3 complying voluntarily. The emergency powers allow the state to mandate transparency on fuel volumes, distribution points, and delivery timetables. WA Energy Minister Amberjade Sanderson stated penalties for non-compliance could reach $100,000 per day for corporations and $10,000 per day for individuals. The government cited Middle East war disruptions as a cause of supply chain challenges, particularly in agricultural and mining regions. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Newscomau both state the emergency powers are under the Fuel, Energy and Power Resources Act 1972, but Newscomau explicitly clarifies it is not a state of emergency, while ABC does not emphasize this distinction as strongly. Newscomau mentions Premier Cook wrote to 6 companies, but ABC does not specify the exact number of companies contacted, only states 6 major suppliers were involved. Newscomau reports the government is complying with the Commonwealth's Keep Australia Moving, Level 2, plan, while ABC does not mention this alignment explicitly. This story was covered by ABC News, news.com.au, and SBS News. Story 13 of 36. Australian Energy Minister Angus Bowen addresses fuel supply concerns during Easter travel period. Australian Energy Minister Angus Bowen addresses fuel supply concerns during Easter travel period. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Energy Minister Angus Bowen made public statements about Australia's fuel supply security. Fuel demand increased by 30% over the Easter break. Bowen warned against storing petrol at home. Dozens of fuel shipments were reported en route to service stations. Service station fuel shortages were reported to be declining. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Bowen said fuel supply is secure until May, while Article 2 describes it as strong without a specific end date. Article 1 emphasizes warnings against storing petrol at home, but Article 2 does not mention this advice. Article 1 highlights a 30% spike in demand without additional context, while Article 2 omits this specific percentage. This story was covered by SBS News. Story 14 of 36. NSW fuel price enforcement and consumer reporting crackdown amid fuel crisis. NSW fuel price enforcement and consumer reporting crackdown amid fuel crisis. Here's what every outlet agrees on. NSW Fair Trading issued 93 penalty notices to service stations for fuel price mismatches between Bowser and fuel check listings. 93 infringement notices were issued during a 2-week compliance blitz covering 1,800 service stations, 75% of registered stations in NSW. 24 of the 93 penalty notices were supported by consumer reports. On-the-spot fines for non-compliance are $1,100, with potential court penalties of up to $22,000 for individuals and $110,000 for corporations. NSW Fuel Check daily users surged from 10,000 to 500,000 by late March due to fuel price concerns. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Newscomau both report 93 penalty notices, but ABC does not specify the 24 fines were based on intelligence or consumer reports like Newscomau does. The Guardian states none of the 93 notices were for price gouging, while ABC and Newscomau do not explicitly confirm this exclusion. Newscomau reports 20,000 visits per hour to Fuel Check in April, but ABC and Guardian do not provide this hourly figure. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 15 of 36. Donald Trump's escalating threats against Iran over the Strait of Hormuz and his Easter Sunday social media post. Donald Trump's escalating threats against Iran over the Strait of Hormuz and his Easter Sunday social media post. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social on Easter Sunday, April 7th, saying Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one, in Iran, and demanded open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell, just watch. Trump added praise be to Allah to his post on Truth Social. The original deadline for a deal was set for Monday, April 6th, but Trump extended it to 8 p.m. Tuesday, U.S. time. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, Iran's parliamentary speaker, responded by saying Trump's recklessness was dragging Americans into living hell and threatened to burn the entire region. Elon Goldenberg, a former U.S. Defense Department Iran specialist, stated Trump's madman theory approach was breaking down because Iran sees backing down as existential. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources, as they are nearly identical in content. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 16 of 36. Australian government investigates social media platforms for under-16s ban compliance failures. Australian government investigates social media platforms for under-16s ban compliance failures. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube are under investigation for potential non-compliance with Australia's under-16 social media ban, mentioned in Articles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The E-Safety Commission's compliance report found that 70% of under-16s who had accounts on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok before the ban still retained access, Articles 2, 4. A survey of 900 Australian parents found 31% of children still had social media accounts after the ban, down from 49% before, Articles 2, 4. Over 4.7 million social media accounts were deactivated, removed, or restricted in the first days after the ban took effect on December 10, 2023, Articles 2, 4. The maximum penalty for non-compliance is $49.5 million Australian dollars, $33.9 million US dollars, per company, Articles 2, 4, 5. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 2 states 63.6% of parents reported their child still had a Facebook account post-ban, but Article 4 does not provide this specific percentage breakdown for Facebook. Article 2 claims 69.1% of parents reported their child still had an Instagram account post-ban, while Article 4 does not mention this exact figure for Instagram. Article 2 reports that 48.5% of parents said their child still had a YouTube account post-ban, but Article 4 does not specify this exact percentage for YouTube. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and SBS News. Story 17 of 36. Philippines faces severe economic crisis due to oil price surge from Middle East conflict. Philippines faces severe economic crisis due to oil price surge from Middle East conflict. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Philippines declared a national energy emergency on March 27, 2024, the first country to do so due to the Iran war. Almost all of the Philippines' oil is imported from the Persian Gulf, mentioned in both ABC and Guardian. Diesel prices in the Philippines rose from 55 Philippine pesos, $1.30 per liter to 130 pesos, $3.12 per liter, ABC, 60% surge, Guardian. Transport workers, jeepney tricycle drivers, face severe income losses due to fuel price hikes, with some earning one-third less, ABC, Eddie Ramos, Guardian, Jason Noga. President Ferdinand Marcos secured crude oil supplies until June 30, 2024, including a shipment from Russia, ABC, April stockpile, Guardian, March 27 assurance. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports diesel prices doubled from 55 to 130 pesos, $1.30 to $3.12, while Guardian states a 60% surge, no specific baseline given. ABC mentions government secured 1 million barrels for April, but Guardian does not specify quantity, only timeline, until June 30. ABC cites J.C. Punongbayan, University of the Philippines, for inflation forecasts, while Guardian cites Giancarlo Punongbayan, assistant professor at UP School of Economics, likely the same person but named differently. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 18 of 36. Westpac CEO warns of Australian recession risks amid inflation and geopolitical pressures. Westpac CEO warns of Australian recession risks amid inflation and geopolitical pressures. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Miller, CEO of Westpac, warned in interviews with ABC's That's Business podcast that there is a chance of a recession for Australia due to inflationary pressures and geopolitical tensions, ABC, Newscomau. Australia's inflation rose 3.7% in February 2026, down 0.1% from January, but remains above the Reserve Bank of Australia's (RBA) target band of 2 to 3%, ABC. The RBA has raised interest rates twice in 2026, ABC, Newscomau, most recently by 25 basis points to 4.1% in March 2026, Newscomau. Westpac's chief economist Lucy Ellis forecasted 3 more RBA rate hikes by August 2026, ABC. The median house price in Australia is $933,137, far exceeding the $600,000 to $650,000 range affordable on a median income of $90,000 to $95,000, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports Westpac's fixed rates were raised by 0.45 percentage points in March 2026, but Newscomau does not mention this specific rate adjustment. Newscomau cites Oxford Economics' worst-case oil price prediction of $190 (276 Australian dollars) per barrel by August 2026, which is not referenced in ABC. ABC states Miller expects 1 more rate hike would return Australia to the 4.35% cash rate, pre-2025 cuts, while Newscomau frames it as no worse than 2025 without specifying the exact rate. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 19 of 36. Impact of RBA interchange fee cuts on Qantas frequent flyer points earnings and alternatives. Impact of RBA interchange fee cuts on Qantas frequent flyer points earnings and alternatives. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, slashed interchange fees for credit cards by 63% from 0.8% to 0.3% effective October 1, 2023, following a similar ban on debit credit surcharges. Qantas' frequent flyer program covers approximately 50% of the Australian population, making it the largest scheme in the country. The RBA's 2017 interchange fee reduction led to reduced points earn rates, some by up to a half, capped sign-up bonuses, and bonus points spread over 2 years. Qantas Health Insurance offers a sign-up bonus of 140,000 Qantas points for new customers joining by April 9, 2024, with points awarded based on cover level over 6 months. Everyday Rewards, Woolworths, Big W, BWS, converts points to Qantas at a 2-to-1 ratio, with promotions offering up to 10x points on specific products or spending thresholds. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 20 of 36. Australian drug trafficking syndicate arrested after trawler sinking raises suspicions. Australian drug trafficking syndicate arrested after trawler sinking raises suspicions. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 9 men aged between 31 and 72 were arrested over alleged drug trafficking conspiracy. 8 arrests occurred in Victoria, 1 in Sydney. The arrests stem from a 10-month investigation, Operation Bruce Cremorne, involving AFP, Victoria Police, Australian Border Force, and ACIC. The syndicate allegedly planned to smuggle up to 3.5 tonnes of cocaine via Bass Strait using a mothership and smaller vessels. Police became suspicious after a commercial trawler sank off Victoria's coast in May 2023 with 4 crew members needing rescue. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions the syndicate planned to import tons of cocaine and methamphetamine, while ABC specifies only cocaine, up to 3.5 tonnes, and does not mention methamphetamine in the same context. The Guardian states the syndicate was using trucking connections to move drugs between states, but ABC does not explicitly mention methamphetamine distribution via trucks. The Guardian does not mention the operation's name, Operation Bruce Cremorne, while ABC explicitly names it. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 21 of 36. 20-year-old man accused of plotting WA terror attack faces court hearings. 20-year-old man accused of plotting WA terror attack faces court hearings. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Jason Joseph Michaels, 20, is accused of plotting a mass casualty terror attack targeting Western Australia Parliament House, police headquarters, and mosques in Perth. Michaels allegedly wrote in a diary about planning a day of justice and compared his intended attack to the Bondi beach shootings, stating what I want to do to both these groups pales in comparison to today. Police raided Michaels' parents' home in Bindoon, north of Perth, in February 2024, seizing a locked diary, 2 guns, 900 rounds of ammunition, and various knives from his bedroom. Michaels allegedly accessed extremist white supremacist ideology online, including manifestos and instruction manuals from declared terrorist organizations, and researched bomb-making materials and 3D printed weapons. Magistrate Belinda Coleman refused bail for Michaels, describing his diary entries as disturbing and not mere ramblings. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian describes Michaels' diary as containing a list of actions he planned to undertake, while ABC's Porter frames it as a pie-in-the-sky plan with no real intent. News Kamau's prosecutor Nelson emphasizes Michaels had a timeline of things to achieve over years, whereas The Guardian's Porter dismisses it as a fantasy with no actionable steps. The Guardian reports Michaels allegedly wrote about designing an Iron Man-style metal suit, but this detail is not mentioned in the other 2 sources. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 22 of 36. US DHS partial shutdown funding negotiations and political deadlock in Congress. US DHS partial shutdown funding negotiations and political deadlock in Congress. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has been without full funding since mid-February 2024, marking the longest partial shutdown in US history. The Senate passed a DHS funding bill on the 20th of March, 2024 that excludes funding for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and parts of Customs and Border Protection, CBP. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune agreed on the 20th of March, 2024 to advance the Senate's DHS funding bill, abandoning a House Republican proposal to fund all of DHS for 60 days. Senate Democrats unanimously supported the Senate's DHS funding bill, which excludes ICE and CBP funding, while House Republicans initially rejected it before shifting stance. Transportation Security Administration, TSA, employees faced weeks without pay during the shutdown, causing security lines at airports to stretch for hours before Trump signed an executive order on the 19th of March, 2024 to backpay them. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states the Senate passed the DHS funding bill last week, implying 13 to 17 March, while Article 2 specifies it was passed on the 20th of March, 2024. Article 1 claims the House and Senate are on recess through this week and the next, while Article 2 clarifies they are on recess through next week, the 21st of March, only, with pro forma sessions scheduled. Article 1 does not mention the exact duration of the House's pro forma session, whereas Article 2 specifies it lasted just shy of 3 minutes. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 23 of 36. Rabbitohras legend Nathan Merritt's cancer battle and return to NRL game for Legacy Bell. Rabbitohras legend Nathan Merritt's cancer battle and return to NRL game for Legacy Bell. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nathan Merritt has stage 4 cancer affecting his liver and esophagus. Merritt has been given approximately 12 months to live by doctors. Merritt will ring the Legacy Bell for South Sydney against the Bulldogs on Good Friday at Accor Stadium. Merritt last played for South Sydney in 2022 and has not attended a game in over 2 years. Campbell Graham returns from a shoulder injury to play for South Sydney on Good Friday. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Merritt scored 146 tries for the Rabbitohras, while Article 2 states he scored 154 career tries including 135 for Souths. Article 1 does not mention Merritt's dying wish for Souths to win the Premiership, which is only reported in Article 2. Article 1 does not mention Merritt's specific wish to attend his first NRL game in over 2 years, which is highlighted in Article 2. This story was covered by news.com.au and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 24 of 36. Australia's National Film and Sound Archives 2026 Sounds of Australia Collection Highlights. Australia's National Film and Sound Archives 2026 Sounds of Australia Collection Highlights. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Jack Colson's 1991 arrest speech. Gentlemen, this is democracy manifest. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal was added to the NFSA's Sounds of Australia collection in 2026. The NFSA's Sounds of Australia collection includes 9 audio recordings added in 2026, including Jack Colson's speech, Missy Higgins' 2004 hit Scar, and the 2001 reading-writing hotline jingle. The collection requires nominated recordings to be over a decade old and is voted on by a panel of NFSA sound experts. The NFSA's Sounds of Australia collection was established almost 2 decades ago, around 2007, and now houses over 300,000 audio items, with 1/3 classified as at risk. Marsha Hines' 1977 dance track Q is the oldest addition to the 2026 Sounds of Australia list. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions the collection includes 9 pieces of audio added in 2026, while ABC states the collection now has over 200 recordings after this year's edition, implying a larger total. The Guardian does not mention the number of recordings in the collection before 2026, while ABC specifies over 200 recordings are now available after this year's editions. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 25 of 36. Climate change threatens Australia's superb fairy wren with extinction within decades. Climate change threatens Australia's superb fairy wren with extinction within decades. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The superb fairy wren was voted Australia's favourite bird in 2013 and 2021 Guardian BirdLife Australia polls. Researchers predict the superb fairy wren population at Canberra's Australian National Botanic Gardens could go extinct within 30 to 40 years under intermediate and very high carbon emission scenarios, 2059 to 2062. The study found population extinction is likely to happen very fast within 30 to 40 years in intermediate and very high emission scenarios. The superb fairy wren suffered low breeding success during dry springs and reduced adult survival following unusually warm winters and hot summers. Researchers used nearly 30 years of weekly observations to track the bird's survival impacts from climate change. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the extinction risk is within 30 to 40 years under intermediate and very high emission scenarios, while ABC specifies 2059 to 2062 for extinction under those scenarios. The Guardian mentions optimistic emission scenarios may still pose a high extinction risk within 50 years, but ABC does not explicitly reference optimistic scenarios in its timeline. The Guardian implies the study's data is extrapolated nationally, while ABC clarifies the findings are based on Canberra's botanic gardens and may not apply uniformly across Australia. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 26 of 36. St Kilda AFL player Lance Collard faces tribunal for alleged homophobic slur in VFL match. St Kilda AFL player Lance Collard faces tribunal for alleged homophobic slur in VFL match. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Lance Collard, 21, is facing a disciplinary tribunal for allegedly using a homophobic slur during a VFL match against Frankston on, date not specified, but referenced as last week. Collard was previously banned for 6 matches in 2024 for using a homophobic slur while playing for VFL side Sandringham, affiliated with Street Kilda. The AFL has investigated the allegation under AFL Rule 2.3a, Conduct Unbecoming. Collard was suspended for 3 weeks, reduced to 2 weeks, for a high hit on an opponent in the same match where the slur was allegedly used. The tribunal hearing is scheduled for next week. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC mentions Collard was playing for Sandringham during his 2024 ban, while Newscomau does not specify the team for that incident. ABC describes the slur as allegedly used a homophobic slur in the VFL match, but Newscomau does not mention the specific slur's content or context beyond allegedly made a homophobic slur. ABC notes Collard's 2024 ban was part of a broader AFL crackdown on homophobic slurs, but Newscomau does not reference this broader context. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 27 of 36. NASA's Artemis II mission, first crewed lunar flyby in over 50 years. NASA's Artemis II mission, first crewed lunar flyby in over 50 years. Here's what every outlet agrees on. NASA's Artemis II mission launched on November 16, 2024, or early April 2025 in some sources, but all agree on the first crewed lunar flyby in over 50 years, carrying 4 astronauts: Reed Wiseman, Commander; Victor Glover, Pilot; Christina Koch, Mission Specialist; and Jeremy Hansen, Mission Specialist, first Canadian in deep space. The crew includes the first woman, Christina Koch, first person of color, Victor Glover, and first non-US citizen, Jeremy Hansen, to travel beyond low Earth orbit. The mission launched aboard NASA's Space Launch System (SLS) rocket, the world's most powerful operational rocket, with a total height of 322 feet 98 meters and capable of producing 4 million kilograms of thrust during launch. The Artemis II mission is a 10-day flyby around the Moon, with no planned landing, and will test the Orion spacecraft's life support systems, docking capabilities, and human endurance in deep space. The crew will travel farther from Earth than any humans before, aiming to surpass the Apollo 13 record of 248,655 miles, 400,171 kilometers, and reach approximately 252,757 miles, 406,772 kilometers at the mission's peak distance. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, ABC, states the launch occurred in early April, while Article 10, Guardian, and others suggest the launch was on November 16, 2024, or early April 2025. This discrepancy may be due to the timeline of reporting. Some articles are live updates while others are pre-launch previews. Article 1, ABC, mentions a 2-hour launch window opening in Australia time, while Article 10, Guardian, specifies the launch window opens at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11:24 p.m. British Summer Time, which is not directly comparable without context. Article 6, ABC, states the crew will reach a maximum distance of 400,171 kilometers from Earth, Apollo 13 record, while Article 8, Guardian, and others report the Artemis II mission aiming for 252,757 miles, 406,772 kilometers or 253,000 miles, which is a significant discrepancy in the exact distance claimed. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 28 of 36. Cricket Australia omits Sam Consters from 2026 to 27 full contracts list due to poor form. Cricket Australia omits Sam Consters from 2026 to 27 full contracts list due to poor form. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Sam Consters was left off Cricket Australia's full contracts list for the 2026 to 27 season. Consters is one of 6 players, excluding retired Usman Khawaja, to lose full contracts, alongside Glenn Maxwell, Lance Morris, Jai Richardson, and Matt Short. Brendan Doggett was upgraded to a full contract after his Test debut in the 2024 Ashes series. Michael Neser and Todd Murphy regained full contracts for the 2026 to 27 season. Jake Weatherald retained his full contract despite averaging 22.33 in the 2024 Ashes series. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Consters was overlooked for the entire Ashes series, while The Guardian says he was not explicitly excluded but preferred over Weatherald at the time. ABC does not mention Consters' debut as unorthodox, while The Guardian explicitly describes it as such. ABC does not mention Australia A's trip to India as a potential opportunity for Consters, while The Guardian highlights it as a strong chance for him. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 29 of 36. Federal judge dismisses most of Blake Lively's sexual harassment claims against Justin Baldoni in It Ends With Us case. Federal judge dismisses most of Blake Lively's sexual harassment claims against Justin Baldoni in It Ends With Us case. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Federal Judge Lewis Lyman dismissed 10 of Blake Lively's 13 claims against Justin Baldoni in a ruling on the 18th of April, 2024. The surviving claims are breach of contract, retaliation, and aiding and abetting in retaliation, with a trial scheduled for the 18th of May, 2024. Judge Lyman ruled Lively was an independent contractor, not an employee, and thus could not bring sexual harassment claims under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Lively alleged Baldoni kissed her forehead, rubbed his face against her neck, and made comments like "it smells good" during filming of It Ends With Us. Judge Lyman noted Baldoni was acting in the scene and that the conduct was part of a slow dancing scene between characters, not directed at Lively personally. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Lively's text to Swift called Baldoni the doofus director of my movie, but ABC does not mention this specific quote. The Guardian states Lively's claims included Baldoni kissed, nuzzled, and touched her without consent, while ABC focuses more on Baldoni's alleged comments and actions during filming. The Guardian highlights Baldoni's lawyers calling the defendants very good people in a statement to AP, but ABC does not reference this exact phrasing. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 30 of 36. International coalition meeting to reopen Strait of Hormuz amid Iran blockade. International coalition meeting to reopen Strait of Hormuz amid Iran blockade. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong will represent Australia at a virtual meeting of 35-plus countries, including UK, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Japan, Canada, South Korea, UAE, Nigeria, to discuss reopening the Strait of Hormuz, excluding the US. The meeting was convened by UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper on Thursday, April 4, 2024, to discuss diplomatic, political, and civilian initiatives for securing the strait and restoring freedom of navigation. Iran has effectively blocked the Strait of Hormuz since US-Israeli strikes on February 28, 2024, reducing daily vessel traffic from -150 to -25 ships in the 24 hours leading up to the meeting, April 4. About 20% of the world's oil and gas supplies, 1000+ ships and 20000+ seafarers, are currently stranded in the strait due to Iran's partial blockade, causing global fuel price spikes. Australia has deployed an E-7 Wedgetail surveillance aircraft with 85 crew to the UAE, contributing to Gulf defense efforts, as confirmed by Defense Minister Richard Marles in multiple sources. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Newscomau both report Australia's E-7 Wedgetail is deployed to the UAE, but Newscomau additionally claims 90 SAS operatives were deployed, denied by Communications Minister Annika Wells in ABC. The Guardian states Iran's blockade reduced daily vessel traffic to 130 ships, while other sources, ABC, Newscomau, report 25 ships in the 24 hours leading up to the meeting. Newscomau reports Iran's blockade began after US-Israeli strikes on February 28, but ABC and Guardian specify the strikes occurred on February 28, 2024, no contradiction in date, but Newscomau omits year. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 31 of 36. Australia's fuel supply crisis and government response amid Middle East conflict. Australia's fuel supply crisis and government response amid Middle East conflict. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Australia's current fuel reserves include 30 days worth of diesel, 39 days worth of petrol, and 30 days worth of jet fuel, ABC Article 1 and Article 2. All fuel shipments to Australia are secured through to May 2024, ABC Article 1 and Article 2. The federal government has not publicly indicated a clear threshold for restricting petrol consumption or rationing, ABC Article 1 and Article 2. Internal government modeling assumed rationing would only be considered if the national stockpile dropped to 10 days' supply, ABC Article 1 and Article 2. The government has halved the fuel excise by 26.3 cents per litre for 3 months starting April 1st, saving motorists $19 per 65-litre tank, ABC Article 1 and Article 2. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states the government is not considering rationing at this stage, while Article 2 quotes Tony Wood saying the government is wargaming different supply scenarios and preparing for rationing as a contingency. Article 1 reports the government's 4-stage plan is in its 2nd stage, keeping Australia moving, but Article 2 does not mention the stages or current stage explicitly. Article 1 claims the government's modelling assumed voluntary measures would begin when stockpiles dropped to 15 days, while Article 2 only mentions 10 days as the threshold for rationing without specifying voluntary measures trigger. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 32 of 36. One Nation's electoral breakthrough in South Australia's 2022 state election and its impact on Liberal opposition status. One Nation's electoral breakthrough in South Australia's 2022 state election and its impact on Liberal opposition status. Here's what every outlet agrees on. One Nation won 4 lower house seats in South Australia's 2022 election, including the party's state leader Corey Bernardi, Matt Killip, and 3 additional MPs, Narungga, Yorke Peninsula, and 1 other unnamed seat. The South Australian Liberals secured 5 lower house seats, leaving them with a 1-seat advantage over One Nation in the lower house, 5 versus 4. One Nation obtained 3 upper house, Senate, seats in South Australia, while the Liberals won 2. Pauline Hanson claimed One Nation secured nearly 23% of the primary vote in South Australia's election. Josh Teague retained the Adelaide Hills seat of Haysen for the Liberals, ensuring their official opposition status was preserved by a narrow margin. But not all outlets told the same story. Newscomer reports One Nation won 4 lower house seats and 3 Senate seats, while ABC confirms 4 lower house seats but does not specify the exact number of Senate seats beyond 3. No direct numerical contradiction, but ABC omits Bernardi's seat name. Newscomer states One Nation level with SA's Liberal representation, implying parity, but ABC clarifies Liberals have 1 more seat, 5 versus 4, in the lower house. Newscomer quotes Hanson saying One Nation held nearly 23% of the primary vote, while ABC does not provide an exact percentage but references a 1998 Queensland comparison of 22.6%. No direct contradiction, but framing differs. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 33 of 36. US directs embassies to counter foreign disinformation using X and military psychological ops. US directs embassies to counter foreign disinformation using X and military psychological ops. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The US directed all American embassies and consulates to launch coordinated campaigns against foreign propaganda, per a cable signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio on March 29, 2024, obtained by The Guardian. The cable instructs embassies to work alongside the US military's Psychological Operations Unit, MISO, formerly PSYOP, to counter disinformation. Elon Musk's X platform, formerly Twitter, and its Community Notes feature were explicitly endorsed in the cable as an innovative tool for countering anti-American propaganda without compromising free speech or privacy. The cable identifies Iran, Russia, and China as key adversaries conducting state-sponsored disinformation campaigns targeting US allies in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The US is at war with Iran, which operates one of the world's most sophisticated state disinformation apparatuses, according to the cable. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 describes the cable as signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, while Article 2 frames the development primarily as a Trump-era policy without explicitly naming Rubio as the signatory. Article 1 details the dissolution of the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force and the State Department's hub under Trump, while Article 2 does not mention these specific dismantlings. Article 1 explicitly states the cable combines public diplomacy with military psychological operations, a practice described as not common, whereas Article 2 omits this nuance entirely. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 34 of 36. Israel's parliament approves death penalty for Palestinians convicted of lethal attacks. Israel's parliament approves death penalty for Palestinians convicted of lethal attacks. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Israel's parliament passed legislation making the death penalty by hanging the default punishment for West Bank Palestinians convicted of nationalistic killings or acts of terror against Israelis, effective within 30 days, ABC, Guardian 1, Guardian 3. The law applies only to future cases and does not retroactively affect Palestinians convicted before its passage, ABC, Guardian 3. Itamar Ben-Gvir, Israel's far-right national security minister, spearheaded the bill and wore a noose-shaped lapel pin during debates, ABC, Guardian 3. The Association of Civil Rights in Israel filed a petition challenging the law in Israel's highest court, calling it discriminatory by design, ABC. The UN and European nations, including Britain, France, Germany, and Italy, condemned the legislation, warning it violates international law and human rights norms, Guardian 3, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian 1 claims the law is part of a long-standing policy of lethal force against Palestinians, while ABC and Guardian 3 focus on it as a new legislative measure without historical context. Guardian 1 describes the law as a new phase in Israel's dehumanization of Palestinians, but ABC and Guardian 3 present it as a long-sought demand by the far-right without framing it as escalating systemic oppression. Guardian 1 argues the law is a direct extension of Israel's existing system of torture and abuse, while ABC and Guardian 3 emphasize its discriminatory application to Palestinians in the West Bank versus Israeli citizens. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 35 of 36. Man accused of bombing Invasion Day rally may plead insanity defense. Man accused of bombing Invasion Day rally may plead insanity defense. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Liam Alexander Hall, a 32-year-old man, is accused of attempting to bomb an Invasion Day rally in Perth on January 26, 2026. Hall allegedly threw a homemade fragment bomb filled with ball bearings and nails screws into a crowd of approximately 2,500 people. The device did not detonate and no injuries were reported. Hall is charged with engaging in a terrorist act, making or possessing explosives under suspicious circumstances, and intent to harm or endanger life. Hall is currently detained at the Franklin Centre psychiatric facility in Perth's western suburbs. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Hall's next hearing is in May 2026, adjourned until May, while Newscomau states his next hearing is on May 26, 2026. The Guardian describes the device as a homemade fragment bomb with ball bearings and nails, while Newscomau calls it a glass container with liquid, screws, and ball bearings. The Guardian mentions Hall did not appear via video link on February 20, 2026 due to unspecified reasons, while ABC does not mention this specific date or absence. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 36 of 36. Australia's under-16 social media ban effectiveness and challenges after implementation. Australia's under-16 social media ban effectiveness and challenges after implementation. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Australia's under-16 social media ban took effect in February 2024, targeting platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Around 70% of children, approximately 6.5 million accounts, remain on banned platforms despite the legislation. The eSafety Commissioner's report found no notable change in cyberbullying or image-based abuse among children post-ban. Facial age estimation technology has higher error rates for children near the 16-year age threshold, with many bypassing checks by adjusting their age. The Australian government has accused tech firms of non-compliance and may impose fines up to $49.5 million Australian dollars for violations. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states the ban has been doomed to fail from the outset with no evidence supporting its effectiveness, while Article 2 frames the government's initial tech trial report as courageous despite later flaws. Article 1 claims the ban may be worse than nothing due to new risks like privacy vulnerabilities, but Article 2 does not explicitly endorse this view and focuses on enforcement gaps. Article 1 highlights the ban's failure to address root issues like algorithmic harm, while Article 2 does not directly critique this aspect but emphasizes compliance failures over systemic flaws. This story was covered by The Guardian.